So welcome to our programming part of the course. Here I will be discussing the logic development and the syntax, and what is our objective, that we are able to produce softwares or programs using C language and the web languages as well. In C language, as I mentioned, as I have uploaded the book on the My Drive website, we will be referring to that book, and in this week, June 3rd week, we will be focusing on second chapter and the third chapter of that C++ book. I will be uploading the videos that are similar to that discusses the expressions in PHP and in JavaScript. These two languages are related to web programming. Why I am going in parallel, because when you understand a syntax in a particular language, like if you understand in C, then there is not big difference. The same or very little different syntax is in PHP or in JavaScript. So it will be easier for you to understand the syntax. And to start thinking as a programmer, this tool is developed called Scratch. This tool is developed by the MIT Media Lab, and they developed this tool to teach programming. The difference between this Scratch tool and any other programming language like C, PHP or JavaScript is that Scratch is a visual programming language where you develop your software by dragging the commands. For example, this area, the scripts area, is as an area where you can put blocks from any of these possibilities. So if I drag any of these blocks to this scripts area, then it will start working. So this Scratch tool is designed to teach, to understand, or to learn programming, and it is easy to understand the blocks which are already built in this Scratch tool, and we will see that how these building blocks are equivalent to the statements in the third chapter of our book for C++ language. Particularly, if I go to this Controls tab and I show you these building blocks available, these building blocks are equivalent to the statements in chapter 3, which I want to discuss, of course, later on, but you will see that whatever we have there, we are available here in the form of blocks. If I just discuss for your reference that in our third chapter we will be having selection statements, we will be having iteration statements, and we will be having jump statements. So if you go to the third chapter of the book and you just have an overview of these things: selection statements, iteration statements, and jump statements. In selection statements we have if and switch. In iteration statements we have for loop, the infinite loop, the while loop, the do while loop. And in jump statements we have a return statement, go to statement, break statement, exit function, and continue statements. So we will be discussing these all statements, and first we will considering these statements from controls, from these blocks, and then we will go to the C language where we will write commands for these statements. So the first thing is that you go to the third chapter and just see selection statements, just go through the selection statements, iteration statements, and jump statements, and then you watch the next video where I will be discussing these control blocks and their utilization, how these can be used, and how they represent. For example, if you go to the selection statements, there you will have if or switch statement. I will be discussing which of the block is equivalent to if statement or switch statement, and which of the block is equivalent to the for loop, and which can be the infinite loop, the while loop, the do while loop. So here you will be dragging the blocks and you will see how these blocks work, and it is easy for you to get an understanding.